Let's talk about high status and low status. Some general observations. High status people tend to generally lead. They show less deference behaviors. They tend to be self-assured. Low status tend to be more followers, more deference behaviors, and we'll talk about that, and tend to be slightly more insecure. Okay, when we talk about status, I like to put it into 3 different categories so we can get our heads around the concept. Demeanor, relationship, and space. Demeanor. So I'm going to have Paula come up here. I want you to watch Paula. She's going to be in a neutral position, and she's going to become higher status. Higher status people have more erect postures. They tend to have a relaxed manner. Their postures tend to be open, what Johnstone called cherub postures, right? I'm unafraid, right? I'm opening myself up to the world. They tend to be smooth in movement and purposeful. If Paula goes over there, it's because she wanted to be close to you. Okay? Heads are very still. Now let me be clear about this. Heads are not stiff. They only move when they need to, right? As Paula will move her head only when she needs to make eye contact or connect with somebody in the audience. Minimum of nervous tics, very relaxed. High status people gesture a lot. Okay, that's what research shows. But they gesture with communicative purpose. Every gesture that they do underlines a point or has a communicative purpose, right? And Paula did something. One of the research shows that hands up is more of a low status. It lowers your power. Side or down, okay? Gestures. No face touching or soothing self-touch. What Ekman and Friesen called self-adapters, right? Some of us have habits. We touch ourselves in ways to soothe ourselves. And in many cases, we don't know we're doing it. High status people have a minimum of these kinds of behaviors. They don't touch their faces as much, and they certainly don't engage in sort of self-soothing touch. Low status. From the cherub posture, we go to slouched postures. Fear crouch is what Keith Johnstone called it, right? We protect our jugular and our underbelly. Shoulders come up. We begin to cross our arms. We begin to protect ourselves. Okay? Tense, nervous mannerisms. Face touching and self-adaptive behavior. Jerky movements unrelated to intention or communication. A lot of head movement that is not particularly purposeful. Paula's doing this really well. She's illustrating. Lack of vocal consistency or dynamic variation. Okay? And for high status people, tend to have very strong voices with good dynamic qualities. Relationship, low status, erratic eye contact. The low status Paula will make eye contact but won't hold it for long. Okay? Distracting vocal fluctuations.
Hi. Yeah.
Okay,
hi.
good. Deferential and comforting postures. Often, low status people will constrict their own bodies, right? So as not to take up as much space. Smiles or laughs consistent with social situation. Good. Low status people use smiles and laughs in social situations to make people feel comfortable. Okay? One of the things that's coming through when I'm talking is, oh, high status is great, low status is bad. Not really. Touching for comfort or appeasement. If I'm standing here, Paul, yes, Paul will be touching me with comfort and appeasement. How are you doing? Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Gestures seem random. Yes, very good. Reluctant to take other space, which leads us to, well, I love this picture, by the way. People ask me, yes, there are some gender differences, but women also exhibit stereotypically high status behavior, and this is my proof. Look at this powerful woman. Relationship, high status people, they make strong eye contact. Good, they have strong vocal quality and dynamic variation in their voice.
Nice to meet you.
They smile freely, but only when they think something is amusing or funny, right? Touches purposefully, let me show you. As I come into the room, I'm gonna come into the room and meet Paula. Here's low status touching. Hi, I'm Bob, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, do you see what I did? I purposefully touched her, I wanted to. There. Low status. Hey, hi. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Yeah, and she's being low status too, so this is terrible. Space. Low status people fear taking space. Okay? And Paula's doing it behind me. And you see this even in your own space. How many people have seen professors who walk into their own classroom, get behind a lectern, and appear really uncomfortable? It's their room, right? This is not my room, but for this time, this is my room. This is my house. I welcome you to my house. I'm comfortable moving around my house, okay? At the end of this time period, it will no longer be my house, and then it'd be inappropriate for me to be this comfortable. They're uncomfortable in movement, timid about interacting with their environment. This could be at a party, it could be in a new place that you come into. You're afraid to move around. You need permission to go places. If I'm low status and I'm meeting Paula, I might do this. Hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? And Paula's also doing that, right? And why did I do that little stutter step? Because I want to make sure it's okay. I have permission to come in here, right? High status person, take space. Hey, how are you doing? Good to see you. Okay? I take my space. I love this picture, or these three pictures. I use this all the time. You don't know what's going on. You just know it's LBJ, who was a master of status. There's a story in each of those pictures, right? It's a story you can read without knowing the particulars. You can even begin to make some guesses about relationships. This guy definitely is deferring, isn't he? He's doing what low status people do. He's contracting his space for LBJ. Look at this guy. This is a standoff. These are two people of equal power. When I first started working with the lawyers, they all wanted to be high status. We are all high status here, that's what they told me. And in exercises, they all strove to be high status, as if it were a good thing, and lower status is a bad thing. But these are not value judgments. The person who taught me status gave me this great example. He said, all they are ways of doing things. Like his mother would come in and say, oh, honey, I feel so good if you can take the garbage out. And he'd go take the garbage out. Low status strategy, very effective. And his father would come and say, hey, get that garbage out of here. High status strategy, also very effective, right? These are all tactics that we have learned. They're ingrained within us. Sometimes we don't even know we're doing these things, right? I did a workshop for a women's group, and a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, this is why people don't like me at my office. And I was like, I'm sure that's not true, but you are frighteningly high status. Because I'm a really nice person, it just doesn't come through. Low status behaviors have their place, right? To create community, to create comfort, right? To create relationship. We must engage in low status behaviors. I tend to be a pretty high status guy. In order to create relationships, I find myself actually lowering my status. At restaurants, I will do things like head cant, this thing, immediately lowers my status, right? But it also makes people feel comfortable. Oh, really? Yeah, okay, good. So low status behaviors have their place. High status behaviors can be intimidating. Every kind of interaction has combinations of raising and lowering status. Sometimes through nonverbal behavior, and sometimes through verbal behavior. I'll give you an example. I walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, I just finished reading War and Peace." And he says, "Yeah, I read that in high school." That is a status transaction. He took that moment from me. So it can also be verbal. There are socially acceptable adjustments. Once we come into the initial period of dealing with somebody, we have status transactions back and forth until we understand who we are. And then we enact the status behaviors that are going to be most efficient for our relationship. What we want is to be so cognizant of the principles of status that we can become status masters, right? In all the roles we play, we have to be able to be flexible with our status. There are moments when we must be very high status. There must be moments where we project authority, where people have to listen to us. And then there are moments when we have to reach out to people. And we have to know how to do that, how to soften ourselves. This woman from the women's workshop, that's what she took away. She took away some specific things she could do to begin to lower her status. We use a scale from 1, from the lowest status, to 10, the highest status. And here's some icons, right? We understand about status. We understand the kind of nonverbal behaviors and what they communicate, and it's part of our culture. So you have Clint Eastwood and Woody Allen. This is low status behavior.
Yes, there's more.
Oh, tell me then.
The best part,
Don't hit, though.
when you go out that confounded screen door,
Yes?
I want you to be sure, let me repeat this, I want you to be absolutely sure
Yes?
that the screen door does not slam.
Oh, I'll be very careful that it won't make a noise.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
On the other hand,
Just came back to complain. Well, we're not just gonna let you walk out of here.
Who's we, sucker?
Smith, Wesson, and me.
so relaxed, so calm.
Go ahead. Make my day.
So you see what makes him so powerful, right? In our culture, the kinds of nonverbal behaviors he enacts to create this powerful figure. Everything we talked about, still head, smoothness and movement, especially in the beginning when he's like, Smith and Wesson. No, he's not hurrying. He's completely calm, which increases for us our sense of his power because we know what we would do, right? And the way he walked over with the gun, he just kind of strolled, right? Very relaxed. Goffman also talks about something called the front, right? We create a persona carefully, how we want to be perceived, how we want to be seen by our colleagues and people around us.